Hi guys, I'm Nick Marks and I'm CEO of GameGen. A lot of people come up to me and want to know what GameGen is. Well, this video is kind of meant to tell you what it is. But to understand GameGen, you kind of have to understand my whole past. So let's go into who I am and kind of what I've done with my life. So I have a history of kind of helping artists and developers. When I was a kid, I started a website called freetextures.com. Don't try to search it. It really doesn't exist anymore. It was one of the first texture sites that kind of had high-res textures for 3D artists to download. This is a long time ago. This is like 1999 or something like that. I know, I'm super old. It got really, really popular. So popular that it kind of gave me an idea, and that idea became TurboSquid, which is today one of the largest kind of digital asset warehouses on the internet where artists can go and sell their 3D models and textures, and developers for movies and games can grab those things and use them in their work. But I was young at the time and really wanted to focus on making video games, and so I joined Activision and made games like True Crime LA and True Crime New York City. I've also done some self-publishing as well. In there, and I've just had a long kind of history in games where I was a lead artist, an art director, a game designer, all those things. My most proudest achievement, though, was really running UCode. UCode I co-founded as well, and it was the largest school for kids coding in the world. We think we are anyway. We've Googled that, and we're pretty sure we're the largest. We don't know anybody bigger than us, but if you find it, send me an email. And I'll stop claiming that. But that was one of my most proud achievements. But the real thing that I feel most accomplished about was I founded Game Wizards. So Game Wizards was a club at the Art Studio Los Angeles that really taught people that wanted to make games how to make games, and these are the games that they ended up creating. Each of the games you're seeing here has either one or more of my students that helped create them. And this honestly is just a small little bit. Like, there are so many other games that my students ended up creating. So I think I'm kind of an entrepreneur, or definitely an entrepreneur. I have always kind of been focused on helping developers and helping people learn to be developers, and that's really been my whole kind of life's work. And that kind of culminates into the new thing that I'm working on is GameGen. So we're a school, we're a developer, and a publisher. I know we're all those things rolled up into one, and it's pretty hard to understand what that is. So I'll break down what game schools are in general to me, because I think they're broken. I think game schools are horrible. Let's talk about why they're broken and how we'll fix the schools. So they cost way too much. Do you know it costs, if you want to go to an accredited college, you're going to pay over $100,000 to get your degree. It's crazy how much they cost. And, you're probably not going to be able to pay for it all up front. So that means you're going to have to do loans. And that means a lifetime of debt. I still have students that are struggling to buy cars and these are students with great jobs, but because of these interest rates, they still really have problems, with all this debt. You get a degree. I actually think this is a problem because you don't need a degree to make video games. No one, when I started, there was no game degrees. This is just kind of an invention now for the existing kind of school system to put a degree on something like this, which is totally unnecessary. If you want to make games, you can just make games. Too much time. I mean, it's 4 years and maybe more to actually go through school. That's a lot of time that you're not actually making games. The class structures. These classes, you're all usually working individually. You're not working in groups, and you work on these individual projects, which is not how games are actually created. And there's a lack of great teachers. I'm not saying all the teachers are bad, but if you have to take 60 classes to get your degree, chances are you're going to have a lot of really horrible teachers mixed in there, but some great teachers too. Lack of focus. These schools, they're going to make you take all these classes that you could not care about, like a magic and ritual, or maybe you're going to take some Maya scripting class, which that's a great thing to learn Maya scripting, but is that really necessary to make games? No. Do you need to understand magic and ritual or nutrition to make great games? Well, it helps, but that's a lack of focus in my book. And then lack of specialization. Like if somebody comes in to get a degree in games and just wants to make characters, out of those 60 classes you're going to take, really only maybe 1 or 2 of those classes are actually focused on characters. Or if you want to learn artificial intelligence, you might have 1 coding class that focuses on that. So there's really a lack of letting you specialize in what you want to get good in. And then they all tell you that you're going to get jobs in the game industry. But what they don't tell you is they count like a game testing job as getting in the game industry. And I'm sorry, but that is not the game industry. And you're really getting no work experience. You're getting A's and B's and C's and getting grades, but none of the stuff that you're doing in class can be considered actual work experience. So in summary, you don't make real games, you acquire a lifetime of debt, and it usually kind of sucks. So let's talk about Game Gen. At Game Gen, you make real games. You maybe make money. I always say maybe make money because, I don't have any guarantees that you're actually going to make money. I can't do that. But I can guarantee that it's always going to be awesome. That's what we always strive to be. So you get real work experience with published games, meaning you're working on games that are going to get published that you can count as real work experience. You're going to instantly have a career as an indie developer. From day one, you're working on real games, and I count that as you're an indie game developer at Game Gen. You can specialize in any area of game development. So meaning if you want to work on characters, go ahead. Work on characters all day, buddy. If you want to, write a great artificial intelligence engine, awesome. Go do it. And we don't put any limits on what you can do. You can make any kind of game you want. And I think that freedom is something that, a traditional school's not going to put on you. They're going to try to restrict what type of stuff you do. You have to adhere to their assignments. And, we don't have traditional teachers at Game Gen. Really, everyone at Game Gen is a mentor and a collaborator. You can, if you've got a question, ask the guy next to you. Whip out Google. We'll teach you to answer those questions yourself. It's really the way that people learn for the rest of your lives once you're out of school, is you have to learn how to teach yourself and collaborate with others and crowdsource that intelligence. So we have this philosophy, there's no classmates and only teammates at Game Gen. And I think I can guarantee this, I hope I can guarantee this, that you'll be published within your first year of membership at Game Gen. And of course, no bullshit filler classes. I think that we only have you do stuff that you want to do. We're not going to give you busy work. So no loans and no debt. We want to make Game Gen affordable to everyone. If you work at Del Taco, awesome. You can afford us. We don't want you going into a lifetime of debt to try to afford the type of education that we think you deserve. And so what do? It's $199 a month. That's it. To become a member, it's only $199 a month, and you can start making games and learning with us. So that's Game Gen, the school. So, but there was other parts of that. There was game studios. Let's talk about what's wrong with game studios. So let's say you've gotten through school and you're going to go work for a studio. Well, it's really hard to find a job. I don't know if you guys have really tried in the job market yet, but it's tough. There's only so many jobs out there, and it's tough to find one. And once you actually find one, you're competing with so many people to get that job because there's such a high skill level required. I think at Blizzard, somebody told me that they receive 2,000 job applications a week. That's insanity. So, and it's a factory. People don't want to kind of confront this reality of the game industry, but it's a factory. You're going to go get a job at a major game developer. It's like you've got to churn this stuff out. You're going to make a Call of Duty every year. It's a factory-like mentality at these places, and very little transparency. If you go in at the lower level, you're not going to understand how the company works. You're not going to understand, how much people are making. You're not going to understand um, any way the company actually functions. And you're going to get pigeonholed, meaning that you're really good at doing like collision boxes. You're going to make collision boxes for the next 2 years of your life. Or maybe you want to be a character artist, but you can really, do destruction quite well. Well, now you're just going to be the destruction artist, 101. So you'll get pigeonholed at these companies. And you have almost no creative control, meaning that you might have an idea for the game, but there's only a few people allowed to contribute to those ideas of the games you're working on. It takes a long time and a long career to actually get creative control. And you're also going to receive little to no royalties. When you first start out, as you get higher up, maybe you'll get more and more and more. But there's really, if you come up with a great game idea and you push it out there, there's no real guarantee that you're going to get royalties. I think it's usually reserved for the higher ups in the company. And finally, you'll have no decision-making power, meaning that if the company wants to make this type of game or that type of game, you don't get to decide. You just have to sit there and take it. And that's horrible. So, and finally, your game could totally suck. You could work for 2 years on a game and it could be horrible and it's out of your control for why it's horrible and how to fix it. So let's summarize. Most game development jobs are factory-like with little creative control and offer you no real power. That's the reality of most studio jobs. So let's look at Game Gen. So Game Gen, we are unique and you have total creative control. Everything is transparent at Game Gen and everyone is equal. I know those are lofty statements, but let me kind of tell you guys how we do that. So, first of all, your game could still suck at Game Gen. We don't guarantee that you're going to make great games. You're in fact going to make probably a ton of crappy games, but we want to give you that safe space to explore and learn how to make a great game. At Game Gen, we're a flatland, meaning everyone has equal, power. Everybody has a say in what we do, the decisions we make. We really crowdsource all of our decisions to what we buy, what projects we fund, and who we hire. We're all royalty based, meaning if the game makes money, you get a percentage of that money. If we make $1,000, you're going to see a percentage of that. So if the game makes $1 million, you're going to see a percentage of that. So the better a game you make, the more money it makes, the more money you make. And who decides these royalties? Well, remember, it's all a flatland. So we have everyone on your team really deciding who makes those royalties. It's a team-based decision. So it's very fair. And you have total creative control, meaning it's your game. You can put in what you want to put in. Of course, you have to negotiate a bit with people. If you want to just take the game in a totally crazy direction, you have to, get them on board with it. But you do have creative control. And you get to work on what you want to work on. So if you want to do characters, awesome. Make characters of the game. If you want to do artificial intelligence, do that. That sounds amazing. And total transparency. Again, all of our decisions are out in the open. What the decision actually, when it's made, that actually, is transparent. How much people are making, that's transparent. We're a completely transparent company. And we're a community. We're not a factory. We are all kind of in this together, working together to learn and create the greatest games on the planet. Everybody at Game Gen has the same passions and the same dreams that you have. And any skill level is welcome, meaning you don't have to be the best. You could have zero knowledge, and come on in. We'll teach you, and we'll figure out how to get your skill level up. So you can become a member in 1 minute. It's not like a game development job where you have to, wait a year of submitting resumes. No. Just come in and sign up and you're a member. It's awesome. We take anybody. And there you go, Game Gen the studio. So there's one last thing. There was the publishing. So let's talk about game publishers. So they control your vision, meaning they tell you what the game should be. And they really tell you. And it's honestly people that have never made a game in their lives telling you what this game should be. And that's a horrible feeling. I've had that happen to me. It's a bad feeling. Questionable support, meaning sometimes they're going to support you really, really well. Other times you're like, hello, can you actually support me? That's rough. That's rough out there. They're also limited in their marketing, meaning, they've only got X number of marketing dollars. So just because you're going with a big game publisher doesn't mean that you're going to have the best marketing in the world. And they own your ideas, meaning when you sign with a publisher, chances are they take control over your intellectual property, and you've got to ask their permission to do something with it. And that's how they control you and control the games you make. And they don't share royalties with everyone, meaning, if you're just somebody that did some little things on the game, there's no guarantee you're not going to get any royalties. It's like they really only give the higher ups in the companies royalties. And they keep most of the money. So publishers, they'll, start anywhere between 20 to 40% of the profits, and I've heard of even deals where they're taking 60%. It's insane out there where, they will keep the money, these publishers out there. And there's no guarantee after all of this, after they've taken your ideas, they're not paying you very much money, that your game will actually sell, that they will, there's no guarantee of that. So let's just summarize. Publishers own everything you do and keep all of the money. Well, not, maybe I should re-put this to some of the money or most of the money. There you go, most of the money. Let's talk about Game Gen. So Game Gen lets you and the world own your ideas and shares royalties with all of its members. So, we've kind of got this amazing idea where we're going to open source IP. We're going to open source copyright to everything we create. The world owns it. And we're going to share royalties on these great games with all of the members. We would love to create the next League of Legends or something like that, and be able to share royalties with all of our members to where they don't even need to pay for education, or they don't even need to pay us money anymore. Their tuition is free. So there's no guarantee that your game will actually sell. We can't guarantee that. We really can't guarantee that, and we need your help in publishing it. We teach a lot of how to publish. You guys do a lot of the groundwork, but there's no guarantee that your game will sell. We're not going to say that. Your team keeps most of the money, meaning as a publisher, if your game makes over 1,000%, Game Gen's only going to take 10% of that. We're not going to try for 25 or 30 or 40% as a publisher. No. We'll take 10%. And every member shares in the royalties, meaning this: if your game makes over 1,000 or under $1,000, that team keeps all the money. Game Gen takes nothing. But if your game makes over $1,000, the team that made the game is going to take home 80%, divided up amongst themselves, and 10% is going to go to Game Gen, so we can hopefully support you guys even more. And then another 10%, the last 10%, goes to every single member at Game Gen, meaning we distribute it equally. So every member basically gets, a percentage of every hit game that we publish, which, I think this is a phenomenal thing, because we would love to make enough money where you guys don't even have to pay for tuition. That's our goal. And the world owns your ideas, Creative Commons. So yes, you don't own your ideas at Game Gen anymore. You guys can see a whole bunch of unrest on the internet just about YouTubers trying to own ideas, and you can see the big corporations like Disney and and whoever they try to stomp down on anybody that kind of infringes on their copyrights. We're going to do our best to try to change that whole mentality. You know, Tesla, if you guys have heard of Tesla and Elon Musk, he basically open sourced and gave up all his patents. He said, no, the world owns this. And we're going to do that with our game ideas. You know, we want to see what happens if the world owns a Super Mario Brothers. We want to see what they're going to create with that. And so your ideas could possibly inspire a sea change in the whole world. So it's a pretty revolutionary idea for a publisher and what we're doing. We don't want to own your IP, and we think that it would be cooler if the world owned it. And we'll show you why that actually helps in a second. So the real thing is potential for the world to market your games. Meaning if you make a great game and it's up there on the charts and you're making all this money, you know, what are those t-shirt guys going to do? What are those action figure guys going to do if they learn that they can actually keep 100% of the royalties for their t-shirts and action figures? You know, now you're not going to actually see any sales from that, but how many t-shirts are they going to sell for you? How many action figures are they going to sell for you? How much is that going to push the popularity of your game and the next thing that you do? I have a theory that it's going to make it more powerful than any publisher on the planet. So we'll see how this goes. And then you're going to get genuine support from every Game Gen member, meaning because we're all sharing these ideas and the world owns them. You know, nobody holds anything back. They're going to try to help you with your game. They're going to offer art support. They're going to offer coding support. We've got Game Gen just started, and we have some of the coolest and best coders, concept artists, environment artists, character artists that I've ever seen already with us. And they're all going to support your vision to make your game as awesome as possible. And then when the game is actually published, I think they'll also download it and buy it. You know, I think that's one of the mentalities that I think will allow us to really push to the top of the charts. So finally, it's not a publisher's vision or some marketing guy's vision. It's your vision. And I think that is so integral is at this way we run Game Gen is no one can tell you really what to do. It's your vision. So Game Gen, we're a publisher. That's how we publish. So let's talk about the future of Game Gen. Game Gen will be the largest school, studio, and publisher for games in the world. That's my vision, and I think everyone's vision that's at Game Gen right now is we want to take this thing as big as it'll go. This is what we're hoping 2021 looks like. We would love to have 237 centers all around the United States, all having people that love games and are passionate about games, all supporting each other, networking with each other, and creating really the largest indie game network in the world. So, finally, this is our slogan: join the team, make your dream at Game Gen. If you guys have any questions, you can go to gamegen.team and read more about us. The website's still a work in progress. And you can also email questions at gamegen.team, and chances are me or somebody very close to me will be answering those questions. And finally, you can call us at 424-237-4651. And all right, you guys, we'll hopefully see you at Game Gen. Have a good one.